Imagine you're running a business. It's really tough. You're bringing in tens of thousands of pounds each and every single month, but you're just not bringing enough cash to pay all the bills. You're working so hard, not getting to where you want to get to. Well, that's what's going to happen in this conversation today. Graham's going to be on the show. He's built a business and he wants to get it to the next level. He's seriously entrepreneurial, but the business just doesn't have the right model. I'm going to have a serious conversation with him because what happens in his future is going to be outlined to him in this show. Let's do it. Hello campers, welcome back to the business broadcast. My guest today is Graham. He's doing a business, £30,000 worth of revenue per month. He's got some challenges around growing the business. We're going to go through those in just a moment, but before we do, I need to tell you about some big changes afoot. We are now recording this podcast visually, and we're doing it live from Roller City, which is next to the Rossi factory. We just bought this business, and we've got this huge space, and it looks flipping fantastic. But it goes one step further than that, because I brought JB along from Phonic Media, good pal of mine. We actually used to work together for about 10 minutes just before coronavirus. Then he left me on my own. But he was actually the brains behind Entrepreneurs University. Well, he made me do it. I was the brains. And he's now on the podcast with me to try and improve it and get it from where it is in the charts. At the moment, it's number 15 for entrepreneurship on Apple. But we want to get it into the top one place, really. We want to be in the top one. But, you know, we'll take the top 10 first of all. And this is episode 330-ish of something. And hopefully he'll stick around for more than 10 episodes and we can do this long term and make this something truly inspirational and of huge value to the UK economy, the global economy, and to entrepreneurs and business owners. So JB, why don't you just tell our listener a little bit about yourself?
Well, hi listener, thank you for having me. There'll probably be a lot of jokes about how long I stuck around working with Jimbo for that one time. It's his favourite joke.
Good material.
It's good, and why let the truth get in the way of a good story? But more than anything, I think I'm most excited to be here because I'm actually been, although the creator of this podcast and Entrepreneurs University, actually I've had a lot of your successes, haven't I? Just nothing to do with the donuts. But more than anything, I've been listening for the last 300 episodes, and as a small business owner myself, I get lots of value from the conversations. Yeah. But sometimes you just skip merrily on over something.
Yeah.
You'll be going, oh yeah, we've got this here, we've done an R&D tax credit, and we've got this, and I've got my FD, and he's done this, he's done that. We've got £2 million of EBITDA, but then the EBITDAs and the EBITDOs are the do. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? So I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to make you deep dive and help to dumb it down for the rest of us who are not doing
I hope that for our listeners, this is going to be more of an enjoyable listen, because I do think when a conversation comes about and you can ask the questions that I just think everyone may understand that they don't understand, I think that's what you're getting to there, that we should end up with something so much more powerful. So rather than me read out all the challenges, JB's going to do that, and then I'm going to intervene on each one. So tell us about the guest today, JB.
All right, now our guest today is Graham, lovely Graham. He's from Jungalaroo Limited. He's been trading for 6 years, just over 6 years, and his estimated monthly revenue is about 30k a month. Team members, yes, he's got 18 of them. And as always, to be on the podcast, it's completely free to be on the podcast. You just have to be willing to be open and honest and transparent.
That's correct,
you always like to get some challenges from people so we can help them move forwards. Challenge number 1, planning cash flow. Obviously, this is a big one for all small businesses. Challenge 2, keeping a profitable business. Now, the wording of that, keeping a profitable business, that intrigued both of us when we were reading this in the run-up to the recording. And challenge number 3, managing the business rather than working on the job. So let's start with those 3 points. Cash flow and managing cash flow. Obviously, this is a big one for all businesses, but especially it would seem in the soft play, indoor play centre space, and you know this really, really well. Why is cash flow so important in this sector?
Well, look, we always say on the podcast and on my YouTube content, keeping the cash flowing keeps the business going, and that is the master skill set of any entrepreneur. Particularly in this trade, though, if we put this into the sort of segment of hospitality and leisure in the round, of which indoor play is definitely one of those businesses, you'll find that most hospitality and leisure businesses really do struggle with cash flow because they have huge peaks and troughs. But there's another layer of a challenge here with indoor soft play, and I know that because I've owned 10 of them, is you've got the weather to contend with. So when it's really sunny, when the kids are at school, no one wants to come. And I actually tried giving the service away for free. June one year, when I had my first play centre, Partyman World, in Basildon in Essex, we gave away 20,000 vouchers to come to us for free. And no one came because it was a really hot summer. And if you live in the United Kingdom and if it's hot, you cannot literally give something away for free to get someone to come inside. They want to go to the beach, have a barbecue in the garden, and you're up against all those things. So weather has nearly killed me, especially in the early days of running a hospitality and leisure business. You think you open a restaurant, you put your life savings in, you remortgage, borrow a load of money from the bank, fit out your restaurant, and then you've got all this seasonality and peaks and troughs. And the big problem with hospitality and leisure is the customer is fickle. So if a new restaurant, a new play centre, a new visitor attraction opens, the customer wants to go and try it. They want to see what's new. And you've got to contend with that. Even if you are better than them, they will steal a slice of your pie while the marketplace goes and checks it out. So cash flow is very tough in hospitality and leisure, and that's why we have huge failure rates. And the one thing that really kills them on top of that is turnover taxes. You've got VAT, business rates, insurance premium tax, national insurance for your employees. You've got the green levy on your electric bills and all of this stuff. So, if you can keep 5% of your turnover in businesses, that's good for a net profit. But lots and lots of hospitality and leisure businesses are topping up cash while they don't make money in the hope that one day it's going to get better, and that breaks my heart.
Keeping a profitable business, I think you touched on a couple of bits there. That's why it's really important. This is why I guess you build in things like daycare nurseries in the same site. So one site.
Well, JB, this is models. This is something that I talk about all my seminars now as well, is actually lots of people, it's not the lack of hard work. People have got grit, got determination. This is a very entrepreneurial country. The UK, we are, the founders of small business that the rest of the world really copies. And, I don't think we're as good as that as we used to be, mainly because we've got a government that's not supportive of the SME sector, in my opinion. But that's for another conversation. But keeping a profitable business is actually finding really good models. And most people are not running a profitable business model. So, a model is something that sometimes you've got a good business, but you have to tweak the model for profitability. So what I did with my indoor play centre is I created multiple revenue streams from this same existing building. So I opened, day nurseries on the same building, same rent, same rates, shared the overhead, shared the customer base, and that turned an okay business model into a very good business model.
And I think there is going to be a conversation about that with Graham. I believe
for sure.
He's tried to move in that direction, but his landlord ain't having it, I think. And finally, challenge 3, managing the business rather than working on the job. Yeah, this is your biggest bugbear, isn't it?
Yeah, I call this the entrepreneur's pyramid. You've got 3 stages of entrepreneurship: solopreneur, entrepreneur, investorpreneur. Most business owners are working in their business, not on their business, and they're building profitable jobs rather than profitable businesses. And the operas mirandi for a great entrepreneur is to build a commercially profitable enterprise that eventually works without them in it. That process might take 10 years to do, but I actually don't think people have even thought about what that looks like. And it's like they're doing the same year at school on repeat, and we want to get away from that methodology and get into a more profitable one.
Absolutely. Right. He also said, we asked in advance.
Can I just interject? I'm already loving this.
Are you?
I just feel.
If you are at home, let us know in the comments.
Message me on Instagram at James Sinclair Entrepreneur. What's your Instagram, JB?
Let's get James Burtt Official.
At James Burtt Official.
Why are you laughing at that?
Yeah, just
makes it sound like there's a fake James Burtt there. No one, there wasn't. I just
if you are liking the new style, drop either one of us as a message, and I'd just love to get people's feedback on it.
Where do you want to be in 1 year? We asked Graham. He said comfortable enough that we are making enough margin to reinvest into the business and keep the business fresh. What does the business look like when it's finished? Multiple sites in multiple in-house supply chain with me as the MD overseeing all the locations. Do you make the profit that you want to make it? If so, what is it? No, just enough to cover our loans and then a little bit on top. What do you do day to day in the business? He said serve customers day to day and have office time as the day allows. And then there's some questions that he'd like to ask you. So should we do it? Should we get him on?
Yeah. This is one thing that we'll go through all the others, but I think there's a salient point here. Do you make the profit that you want to make? If so, what is it? He said no, just enough to cover our loans and a little bit. But when you cover your loans, that is profit. So because eventually the loans will end, and the capital element is paying down profits. So you've got a mortgage on a building, and you buy a building for £1 million, and it can just feel like you're paying the mortgage and not making any money. Yeah. At the end of the 10 years, you've paid all that down. So from the taxman's point of view, when you pay down the capital on loans, they see that as profit. And actually, there's a dangerous position that when I was about 24, I bought a big commercial property in Wembley, and I thought, this is great. I've still got it. It's an indoor play centre. Actually, it's worth like 3.5 million now. I bought it for 600,000, and I was paying £60,000 a year to Barclays to pay the capital down. And then I got a tax bill at the end of the year, and I said the exact same thing to my accountant. I said, no, I've been paying the mortgage now, £60,000, so I've got no tax on that. Oh, no, James. You have to pay tax on the $60,000 that you've paid to Barclays. But why? Because one day you own that big thing that you've bought. So the capital that you're paying down, and I call that tax on invisible profit because I was like,
That's feel like that, doesn't it?
I was like, well, hang on a second, but I'm going to have to, because I owned it personally in my own name, because I paid £60,000 down to Barclays. He went, well, that makes you a high rate taxpayer, so you got to pay that again in tax. I was like, right, next time I buy a commercial property, I own it in my own name. It's going to be in the limited company. Just a little story for you there.
Right, Graham. Hopefully, we're definitely going to be able to help Graham in this one. So, Graham, we'd love to have you on the business broadcast. Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am here.
Awesome stuff. I'm going to hand you over to Jimbo. It sounds like he's got lots and lots and lots and lots that he can help you with today.
Yeah.
So, Graham, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Graham. Welcome to the podcast. Now, JB will do this in the future, but can you just, in your own words, tell us 30 seconds about your business?
So we're an indoor soft play centre, about 6,000 square feet with a couple of smaller mezzanines either side. We do soft play sessions, birthday parties, private hire, and laser parties.
Okay, what? I mean, I know we've got some of the challenges, but what's the biggest thing that's niggling at you? You know, what do you want to get out of this conversation with us today?
I think the whole other business is folding into the existing. So I've looked at the day nursery thing, and whilst the landlord has said no, I don't think it's dead. I think I could possibly revisit that. But I don't know, and other things. What else? There must be so many things, and my brain keeps going blank. What the heck can I do to earn more money coming in to the same 6,000 square feet that I've got?
Are you just about getting by at the moment? Would that sum up what's going on?
It was our 5th birthday yesterday. We've owned the business 5 years. We bought it off the previous owners, and we have been profitable. We are profitable, like you say. We're paying off the loans and bounce back loans and all that sort of stuff. So we are profitable, but it's not enough. You know, we haven't got enough to reinvest. If we wanted to do the nursery idea, we'd have to borrow quite heavily to do that. I want to make sure there's enough money in there that we can reinvest, we can maintain, we can pay our staff well, and just make the place a really, really nice business, the best it can possibly be. And when there isn't enough money in the bank account to do that, there are loads of things that unfortunately have to go by the wayside, unfortunately.
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't want to burst your bubble. I think it's an incredibly difficult industry to make money from. And I think if I'd stayed with just my indoor play centres, I would have gone bust. There's no two ways about it. I actually don't know anyone in the UK that's really made lots of money from it. And there's some little clues, I think, along the way of whether a model... did you listen to the beginning? I was talking about business models.
Yes.
Yeah. I think a little clue to see if a model is profitable and good is whether other people's money want to invest into that sector. So if you've got pension funds, venture capitalists, like shoving cash into a particular sector, like they're doing with childcare, like they're doing with property, like they're doing with care homes, like they're doing with education, like they're doing with fintech and stuff like that, then you know that you're into a good sector. The problem that I found with indoor play, and I built up to have the largest single chain private operator in the UK, is there wasn't venture capital money, there wasn't private equity money coming in, because I think people looked at the model and went, actually, we've got a very small audience here of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds maybe, but then they actually want to go to indoor trampoline parks and do other stuff. So you've got a very small age group, and what the biggest challenge compared to when I started in 2007 is the government have been giving loads of free childcare money to day nurseries, and that's been killing the Monday to Friday trade. And that's going to get even worse in a year's time when 2-year-olds get their 30 hours of free childcare money. So it's going to squeeze the business even more. Have you been seeing that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, our daytimes when we bought the place, the daytimes were dead, and we've kind of improved it. And they are the daytimes, you know, Monday to Friday, week time is all right. But yes, it's always a challenge. And like you say, you know, when it's hot and sunny outside, doesn't matter what you do. You could drag them off the streets and they're not coming in, are they?
No. And the other thing is as well, I think demographic challenges in this country. When I started in 2007, there was lots more single family workers, or one member of the family was working. It was very rare for mum and dad both to work in 2007. That's only like 20 years ago. And then what's happened now, especially with higher interest rates, I think we're seeing both more mums and dads working. So that's why I've made the decision to close hours weekdays for 2 or 3 days a week to try and push people into the other days. And that's made a huge difference to the profitability. Weekends, great. School holidays, great. I just find them very difficult businesses. So you need to find a model. Now, there's a couple of things that I did. Yeah, you can add the childcare, but I also think after school educational groups are a really good opportunity, like Explore Learning and Kit McGrath. I think if you can add them in, as long as you've got enough chimney pots around you. And that's one of the other things about leisure and hospitality. If you're in big towns with lots of chimney pots, that is one of the big key differentiators to good profitability. If you're in an area with, doesn't matter if you're brilliant, but if you haven't got enough people around you, it's going to be very, very difficult. So chimney pots are one of the biggest things that I've learned. But look, you can make it just about pay, usually an indoor play. And if you can run an indoor play centre business at break even or even a profit, it gives you the best skill set for what you do next in business. And it taught me, really how to manage cash very carefully, how to be very innovative. And I'm thankful for that. The other thing is, if you can buy the building that you operate out of, if you can speak to the landlord, that will stop any rents going up in the future. And that can be very, tax advantageous as well, and good for inheritance tax.
We're part of there's 3 businesses on our complex, so we're the middle unit, and there's a self-storage place to one side and a national plumbing centre the other side. So we're part of 4 units. So to buy the whole complex would be I don't think would be possible. It might be. I've never asked the question, but
I would ask, because if you can get the other 2 as well, my view is always think, well, gosh, I've got to make this happen. And we're going to make it happen. If don't worry about where the money's going to come from. Worry about if you can get the deal over the line, and then use your, it's not a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. And that's how I sort of train my brain to think.
Mm-hmm.
Graham, you also mentioned that you had looked at the soft play thing, but the landlord had said no. Are landlords allowed to do that in Jim? Are they allowed to just say, no, you can't do that in this setting? Or what's the
It's always
the
best to get their permission and have them on side. What was his rationale? Why he didn't want you to do it?
The indoors would be fine. It's just that outdoor space, because it's a shared car park. There's no real outdoor.
And that would be difficult. You need an outdoor space.
There's a really nice grass area with trees, and it backs onto a wood. So actually there is an area, but it was just after COVID, and I don't think he was particularly keen on fencing off areas and that sort of thing. I think for him it was probably a bit more of a pain in the backside. So he just said, no, it's not really for me. But that was a couple of years ago. Things might have changed. I could easily.
I would definitely try and knock on his door again, and tell him, look, this business is just about breaking even. Sometimes making it a small profit, but if I can do this, I've seen the model work elsewhere. This would turn it into a much more profitable business, and therefore mean that I can be a much more reliable tenant in the future.
Yeah.
In this situation like that, if someone came to you, Jimbo, as a commercial landlord and said, we want to do this, and they've got a good sort of rationale behind it, and there's good you could use what you've done as a case study of, look, here's how it works well, and you just increase your square footage of the area that you want to take on.
I would say yes.
No-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd be mindful of my other tenants. I mean, we own an industrial park. We just put a vets on there, and we was mindful of our other tenants, like, do they really want horses and cats and dogs coming in? But we decided it was in an area of the estate, and they alleviated our concerns. I think that's the right word. And we decided, yes, we would do it. But I think it's good that you try and get them on side. Technically, I don't think because you're not changing the use, but if you need the garden space, you do need their permission, and it's always best to get them with you rather than against you.
And do you have to have outdoor space for soft play? For a nursery?
I think you'd find it very difficult and not impossible. We've got one in London, and we've got one in a shopping centre. We haven't got that, but we've got access to the space, but they're in areas that people don't have green spaces as much, London and a big shopping centre, and they work there, and we do have access nearby, but I think it would make it very difficult when you're starting out. I think you do, and Ofsted don't like it, so it's always good to have outdoor space.
Gotcha. What other things are you thinking then, Graham, in terms of other ways you could increase revenue to get more from the same amount of space as such?
Yeah, I mean, we've started just doing our own takeaway food type stuff on a very, very small scale, more cakes, more sweet stuff. There's quite a few factories around us, as well as a large housing estate right on our doorstep. So I was thinking, well, maybe, Friday afternoon, people might want to do a cake run or something like that, and just try and look at doing something like that. But it's only putting a little bit in the pot, it's something, but it's not the answer, I don't think.
And honestly as well, Graham, it's only 6,000 square feet. It's not big enough to make big money on your good days.
No,
I would never open my job is to be very honest with you, Graham, because I want you to come off of this and really understand some really key actionable points. The smallest centre we've got is 11,000 square foot. The ones that I know that are making money are bigger than us, and really even the big ones that out there, when they reinvest most of their profits back in, and they can't extract cash out of them, it's very, very difficult. And that's why I come back to that point. You've got this business, get it to a position where it's paying for itself, it's profitable, but maybe put your energies into a model that folds in some way, like I've done multiple times now, and you can leverage the management team, leverage your knowledge, and create something that's more profitable. It's like when I had my entertainment company, or a bouncy castle company. I couldn't make money from it, JB. It's just really difficult because it's commoditized. You're not doing any leveraged work. You're relying on starting from zero each month. All the things that I don't like about hospitality and leisure, but it does give you some great lessons. I mean, Graham, your knowledge of business compared to when you bought this, I'm sure has gained tenfold, hasn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely huge. To start off with, you don't realise the 100+ hour weeks that you have to do to make life happen, but you do it, and I absolutely love it. I just live on it day by day. It's just absolutely brilliant. But
and then the VAT bill comes in,
if it could just
PAYE comes in and just clears you out. I know it's horrible, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Way to burst the
and then
bubble.
you keep fighting again for the next one.
You mentioned that what does the business look like when it's finished? You said multiple sites, in-house supply chain with you as the MD overseeing all the locations. Are you thinking multiple sites of the same sort of sector? Or are you thinking multiple things, or what's your idea there?
I guess probably when I wrote it, I was actually thinking, yes, possibly multiple sites of the same thing. But since I've kind of really got into this, I'm actually thinking probably, yes, in leisure and hospitality, but all local. So other forms of leisure and hospitality all within the same town, so that we're kind of the one-stop shop then, I guess, for a lot of leisure and hospitality around. But it then means going and buying up other businesses or starting afresh. I think I'd probably rather buy than start from scratch. But yeah, that's what I would like.
Does that theory come from watching my content?
I have watched a lot of your content, I have to say. So
I
yes,
thought you were going to go a little bit.
I mean, literally, and I don't watch anything else pretty much at the moment.
Oh, bless you.
And
I'm so sorry.
trying to I'm getting used to your voice. And it's just, I keep thinking there must be other things. There must be something else. And everything that I watch from you and other soft play centre owners I speak to, a lot of it is nursery, daycare, and all that sort of stuff. Which is probably the answer. It's smacking me around the face, but and I'm thinking, if I can't do that,
Graham, just to be honest,
what's number two?
Graham, 70% of day nurseries don't make money, and I would be worried that you've got a 6,000 square foot play centre, and if you chopped off a third of that, that'd be quite a small day nursery, and that would struggle to make money.
And that's my problem. I mean,
so
the
I
space that I've
would
got at the
want a
moment would be
3,000
obvious.
square foot day nursery really to make money. I don't think you've got the space to do it. And so that's why if it was mine, I'd go, right, this is what I've got. This is okay. Look, it's paying for itself. It's paying all the loans. I'm going to put management in here to run it. And then I'm going to go and do something that's better with my time. Now, the word that I don't like about all these multiple sites, multiple different businesses, I do worry when people watch my stuff and cross, that looks like it's working for him. It is a process of 20 years, and some of the existing management team have been with me for 20 years and know me inside and out and upside down and round and round. And you need to make sure that you can leverage that management team and that they want to be on that journey of let's do this, let's do that, and help you. Because otherwise you can end up having 3 or 4 things that are all burning cash and then it's game over. So remember that, E plus M equals S, entrepreneurship plus management equals success. You're obviously highly entrepreneurial, but who's the management team that's going to help you run multiple things, and can you afford that at the moment? Or do you need to bring in something that's going to give you high margin, high cash flow to be able to make that happen?
Yeah, at the moment I've got sort of day-to-day management in the play centre, and I'm working in there, sharing that. But from January, I've got extra people coming in purely because it's end of maternity cover and that sort of thing, and we're keeping them on, which then relieves me of my kind of counter duties, day-to-day duties, which then frees up my time to be able to get on with managing things and looking at what else we do. We've already taken step one. Watching your how to improve cash flow was just about basically just increase your prices. We've got a lot of customers. For the size of centre we are, we do quite well, but I think our prices were just too cheap. So we've now a couple of weeks ago changed those prices, and that's starting to improve. And I've got quite a decent forecast then for next year too. So I've got things in place, but it's just I just want to kind of move forward, really.
You mentioned when the maternity cover comes back and sort of relieves you from the desk duty, that will free you up to do management and other things. What are the other things? So, because one of the things I'm always intrigued by, because Jimbo, you always talk about sort of like folding into the existing empire. But what is that first thing that somebody does? So what was your Jim? What was your stages? Was it soft play, then daycare, nursery?
Yeah, when I looked at soft play, and I was like, this is a model that's very difficult. You can make wages but not make profit.
Yeah.
And I think
how long have you been doing it when you worked that out, that bit?
Like 18 months.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so much so I was out gigging as an entertainer and not taking any money from the business.
What, to pay yourself that way? Pay yourself?
Yeah. And in the first year of owning Partyman World in 2007, the agency, my entertainment agency, and the play centre done about $1 million of revenue. And the agency was, say, 110,000. So the play centre did, nearly 900 grand of revenue in 2007. And I was just servicing debt for 4 or 5 years. But here's the bad news about hospitality and leisure is that the audience loves new. They want the new restaurant, the new bowling alley, the new theme park ride at the theme park. That's what they strive, and that has a real stranglehold on cash. And you need to keep on reinvesting and not actually having anything for yourself. Now, let's look at an accountant. They could be in the naffest office going. They don't have to reinvest in all of that stuff. People keep going back to their accountants. They don't care what the office looks like. And with hospitality and leisure, it's all about the new restaurant in town. And that makes it all very difficult. Not so much with the day nursery. You think about the day nursery model is people care more about the staff than the setting. They want, who's going to be looking after my child? They'll send their child to nanny and granddad for the weekend, and their house might look like a 1960s Indiana Jones set, but they know they're with nan and granddad. They trust the people.
Yeah.
The same with the accountant. They trust the people, and the regularity of going to see them all the time and the years of knowing them makes people have trust, and they're not fickle on that. And that's what's really difficult about the sector, Graham.
What are you looking at, Graham, in terms of that other stuff that you sort of might put your sort of freed up management time from January? What are things that you're toying with at the moment as a sort of an add-on or folding into that existing empire, as you mentioned earlier?
So it was daycare. We were looking into the possibility of trying to add something in, but I don't know whether, as James has already said, I don't know if the space is big enough.
It's great. Let's just quickly explore that. Whereabouts are you in country?
In North Devon.
Okay, so you want to make sure if you're going to open a day nursery that you've got tons of chimney pots around you, because I know North Devon's not got masses of population, and I've got customers up there for Teddy-tastic, so and our arts and crafts business, and they have huge peaks. I mean, I know, do you know the Big Sheep theme park? I know Rick, who owns that very well.
Yeah,
he makes 70% of his income in 12 weeks a year. That's what he's it's even worse than you in many ways, but when he makes that 70% of income in 12 weeks, it's a lot of money. That would be the same for theme parks. They get capacity. They can get 5,000-6,000 people in a day. So when they do have those big days, they have got a chance. And the problem is with you probably get 130 people in the building, and you know about it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, our capacity is about 100, really. So on a busy day, we can do 350-ish people in a day.
And that's the challenge, is there's just not enough capacity to make big money. But you've got the skill set now, and that's why, think about something else. Could you set up an e-commerce business that operates out of that play centre and get the guys to pick and pack the stuff? I don't know, whatever it is, you've got a building there, you've got an asset that you need to sweat, and if you set up an e-commerce business, you can be global, not just based in Devon.
Would you make that fold into the empire?
Yeah, well, I did try that. I set up an online party shop. And I actually didn't do very well with it. I actually had
fantastic. Good luck, Graham. Brilliant.
Thanks very much.
I didn't know what I knew now about e-com, and obviously we've gone back into that, buying a party shop from the royal family. But we've gone full circle and started doing that again. But that business, 50% of our sales are personalisation. And I do think there's a massive opportunity for personalised gift products still in the UK. People do like that, and you've probably got a team that could do that. You've got space. You probably very quickly could have 5-10 grand a month of turnover doing that, doing personalised products. We do a lot of that. That's just an idea. I would be looking at this and going, right, I've got a team here. What can I do? I think there's still a massive opportunity with e-com. And I'd probably look to buy an e-commerce business that is just doing okay, so that you've got instant cash flow and you can usually pick them up for nothing. We just bought another baby product business that we've bought, that we're starting in January, that will be folded into party pieces, that does. I mean, you've had babies, haven't you, JB?
Yes.
When you have them, you need a warehouse for all of them. I was about to I've just said it. All the stuff that arrives. And I've seen that again and again. We do personalised balloons next door and all of that stuff. I was sending it nationwide, and I think there's good opportunity there. So, Graham, you've got to, you put your entrepreneurial hat on and think, what else can I do out of this existing business? And also, what excites you? Where's their margin? And trying to think of something that follows the rule of 4. Where will someone keep on buying from you in quick succession? That's why day nurseries work. That's why accountancy works, because people buy from you again and again and again.
Graham, I know you had 5 questions you wanted to potentially put to Jimbo, but as this is the new format of the podcast, as you heard at the beginning, if you could just whittle that down to a couple, or maybe even just one killer question, because there's no other reason other than I've got a jingle that sounds quite serious, so I'd like to play for you now.
Thank you.
This is some quite serious quiz music for you, Graham. So if you'd like to ask, have a look through those 5 questions, find out what is the most deadly question you'd like to ask multi-entrepreneur James Sinclair.
Before we do that,
sorry, was that worth the jingle? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it was.
No,
I
just love Chud's fans are funny, but Sam obviously spends a lot of time with you now.
You can't make Sam
not
laugh.
a single
Producer
smile.
Sam.
We've got producer Chance and producer Sam. This is serious. We're like the BBC now.
Anyway, can you stop
back to
taking?
Graham.
Yeah, sorry, Graham. Here you go. You can have the jingle again, Graham. So your killer question for James Sinclair. He does look so unimpressed, doesn't he, Sam? Yeah. It's very difficult studio audience when one half of them doesn't want to be here. Graham, what's your killer question?
Would you create another startup business, or would you buy an existing business?
I do both all the time, and it would all depend on the deal. I would, see what the opportunity is and then make my decision. Have you got something bubbling away that I can give you a direct answer to?
Sadly not.
No. So we set up and buy businesses all the time. Now, I do like buying companies. I've bought distressed companies, turn them around, very stressful. I bought really good companies, but you need a lot of money, less stressful. The one we're in right now, we just bought very recently, which is a big indoor roller skating arena. I think they're quite good. There's because you've got a much wider age group that can come to you, Graham, compared to your indoor soft play business. You know, 5-year-olds want to come here and 50-year-olds want to come here. So you've got that massive wider age group. Everyone's prepared to pay a bit more to come do something like this. There's VAT free on skate hire, which you can put into admission, which has all been HMRC cleared. So that means you're keeping more of your admission price. So maybe you could set up a skate business. That's maybe.
Well, the local skate park went bust a little while ago and was bought by a friend of mine.
Oh right, well there you go. Is he doing better now?
I think so. Yeah, I think they're doing okay. They've only been open probably about 6 or 8 weeks now. Yeah. So
I mean, overall, I mean, although we've bought this business, I'm not a big fan of indoor leisure anymore. I think just because of the capacity thing. Now, I bought this, yes, but I own the freehold of the building next door, and I bought the freehold of this, and we're using the yard for Rossi. So maybe when we're putting the visuals in, we'll put a picture of the building so that people that are watching this on YouTube, which we need to mention is a big change here. Did we mention that at the beginning?
I think you did, yeah.
We did, yeah. It's a big difference, and that's the reason I bought it. I wouldn't have bought this otherwise, Graham.
So did you buy this for the freehold then, really?
Yeah, and ownership of the site.
Okay.
Because if someone else came here, we was having all of our delivery vans. We've got a big yard at the back. Yeah, we've just taken over.
So is that a hint for someone like a Graham then? Look, if you're looking at a business, what other things does it give you the benefit of? Obviously, this has brought you in instant cash flow, plus you've got the freehold, plus you've then got parking in a service yard for another business. So you've almost got 3 bites of the cherry. So in this instance, you've got to be looking for the multiple wins to have out of one situation.
And like Graham, we won't make any cash out of this in terms of free cash flow because we're just paying the debt down, the mortgage, So like you, Graham, I'm just in this business, probably for 5 years, just killing debt.
It's been very cheerful, this one, hasn't it?
Well, the thing is, actually, Graham, you should be happy that you've gone into a hard business and you've made it work. Made it work, because if you can do that, the skill sets that gives you are just amazing. And here's the other thing, just before you go on to the next jingle there, here's the other thing. Lots of people I know go in by luck to a really profitable business and they build up a cash cow business, and then they go and buy stupid stuff, and the cash cow business just funds all the stupid stuff because they think they're superheroes, gods of business, and they don't actually know how to run a tough business. And Graham, your business is like most businesses, cash in, cash out. It's fast pounds, money's coming in and it's leaving all the time, and that's why I talk about fast pounds and slow pounds on the podcast. You need to try and extract some of your profits into slow pounds because it's very easy to burn through all the cash you make.
Awesome stuff. Well, should we give Graham another question? You got time for another question?
Yeah,
We've got time for another question. I've got another jingle for you as well, Graham. If you've got a second killer question,
go for it.
A bit more funky. So, go on, give us your killer question.
What external marketing could I do to attract business in quieter times?
I still think for indoor play centre, I think network marketing and book bags, like leaflets in book bags at schools, is literally the best return on investment that you're going to get. Have you tried that?
No.
Well, give that a go. The leaflet for going, you send, package them up in 30s and put them out to schools for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. You go direct to the consumer, put a little killer offer on there, and make sure you're collecting as many email addresses from people that come into you so that you can remind them to come and do business with you. And this is a big lesson here. I usually ask people when they come on the podcast, well, how do you get your first customer? But for you, a bit difficult because it's indoor play centre and you bought it. But reminding people to come back and do business with you is a folly that most business owners do not do. And I think if you can just remind people that you're still there, I think you get results. And most people don't do that. Most people don't send out regular emails. And it is stupid. Stupidity on a level that winds me right up.
Awesome stuff. Well, there you go, Graham. Hopefully that has been very, very useful.
Well, can we hold it? Is there any... I feel like I've not been too motivational, but I do think...
No, there's been some good stuff in there.
Graham, how are you feeling, Graham? I don't want you to come off of it.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
I think it's just sitting back now and not sitting back, sorry, kind of listening back over things and trying to work out the plan of action. And, I'm really hungry to do something else and to push things forward. I think what I've got and the plan that we've put in place for the next 12 months is quite strong, and I think we'll do quite nicely for next year. And then that kind of sets me on a nice footing to then kind of progress into the next thing and try and work out what that is. And I really want to try and find something that folds into my current business. I've got space, I've got room in the building that I'm currently not using. So I want to find out what that is, but it's working that piece out.
That e-commerce business idea you had, I thought that was good.
Yeah, what did you think to that, Graham?
Yeah, I quite like it, and I think there would be, like I say, if there's existing stuff that's already running, I don't, beforehand through COVID, whilst just sat in a building that's empty for however many months on end, you start thinking about what you could do with all sorts of space, and we'd thought about, baby stuff, nursery stuff, but it was all retail. It wasn't e-commerce stuff, so we obviously didn't go any further with any of that. But it's just making use of the space that we already have.
Absolutely, yeah. Sweat the asset, baby.
There we go. Awesome stuff. Well, thank you for being on the show, Graham. And we will hopefully, we're going to check in with people a little bit further down the line. So maybe we'll put a note in our little diaries here. In mid-year, we'll come back for you. Because then it'll be the sunshine months, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, no, actually, then you say it gets really difficult.
I want rain months.
No, when it's really bad weather, we're calling you back, Graham, okay? We're calling you back on a good rain month. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Thanks for being on,
fantastic.
Graham.
Thanks for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Graham. Awesome stuff. So there you go. There's Graham. Yeah. All the way from sunny North, well, not sunny, we want it to be rainy, don't we? Rainy North Devon, where the rain falls high, and so is the cash flow. Those businesses, you mentioned about the e-com thing, right? In that instance there, what would you be doing to make your first e-com move if you've not got a sector?
I think e-commerce is difficult as well. I don't think anything's particularly easy. I just think some businesses are easier than others. I think there's difficult businesses, and then there's easy, difficult. They all take a tremendous amount of work. But I feel a bit angry with myself, Graham. I don't feel like I've armed him with loads of stuff to go forward, but I can't lie. I think it is a very difficult sector he's in. I know that because I'm in it.
Yeah.
And if I'd stayed in it, I wouldn't be here doing this today. And I think, but I do believe that if you try that was very serious there, when you've got a difficult business that's really hard and you manage to get through and stay around even just a year, the skill sets that you're learning really arm you for greatness in the future. And you much rather it that way round than that superhero analogy that I gave earlier with a great business that, you make loads of money.
You see that a lot, don't you?
I mean, we will know countless people between us that have made loads of money at something and then just spunk it away on naff stuff. But back to the e-com thing, you want to choose really businesses that have got margin and where people need to buy from you regularly. That's the key thing. And it's very difficult to get margin where people buy from you regularly. We're speaking about a podcast that both JB and I are massive fans of. And, we're not being paid to talk about this, but there's a podcast called Acquired, and they done a breakdown of the Costco model. Costco, I think they said, is 274 billion of global turnover, 274 billion of global turnover, but 7 billion of operating profit. Now, that's a tiny percentage on the whole amount. But what they do have is a model that is so flipping fantastic because people go to them regularly. And one of the interesting things that I learned about Costco is they turn their stock 12.4 times a year. 12.4 times a year. So they've actually sold their stock before they have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's genius.
Yeah. When you look at Asda or a UK big supermarket, it's about 5.5 times a year. So that's what's so good about Costco. They literally have zero cash flow problems. They don't need to borrow money, and they could borrow whatever they wanted to because anyone bank will look, well, this have more money, but they don't need it because they've got so much cash, so much abundance of cash, which is probably Graham that's listening in the wings going, I'd like some of that, please, Mr. Costco. But, it's such a brilliant business model. And that's where really, when you run a tough business and you think it's tough, then go back to models and find your model that really works for profitability, and then you're off to the races.
Awesome stuff. Well, first ever attempt at the new version.
I love it.
V2 of the business broadcast. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully people at home have enjoyed it. If you have, please feel free to leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast, or click the thumbs uppy button thing if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
Chuds will like that. I don't do much YouTube stuff. Subscribe. That's what they call it, don't they?
Well, there's one little flavour. I always say flavour than favour. And I done it once by mistake, and Tracy, my PA, took the mick out of me, and now I keep it going. But there's one little flavour that I would like to ask of you. If you do think this conversation was useful and it was of value to you, and you know someone that you think needs to listen to this conversation, just share it with one person. That's all I ask.
Yeah, share it with one mate who maybe is having a bit of a cash flow change. Do you know what I love about this podcast as well? The fact that people will come on and tell it actually as it is.
Yeah.
Because most people live an Instagram life, don't they? They're showing you the highlights reel rather than going, do you know what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, some months are really, really bad. Some months we make a bit of money. Some months we don't make any money at all. I think it's that honest, integral conversation that actually helps people to grow, to be, do, and have more ultimately in their lives.
And don't forget, if you want to come on this podcast, you can absolutely do that. It's completely free to do. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, there is here, gang. All we ask is that you are open, honest, and we need to know your numbers. We need to know the facts that we can give you the right advice to really catapult the growth of the business. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, click on the podcast button. There's an application form where we ask all the challenges that gives us the script for me and JB to help grow your business. Go to jamessinclair.net, fill in the application form, and if we feel you're challenged enough, you will be on this show and expose your business to the tens of thousands of people that listen each month.
See you next time, gang.
Thank
Ta-da.
you. Bye.